Cons, from your point of view, as a Chelsea fan, losing Mount has been player of your, very important in you winning your last major trophy in the Champions League, player of the season I think season before last. If I might be mistaken, correct me. How do you feel about losing him to a rival?
My opinion on Mount is in the minority. I really rate Mount. Like, I think Man United getting Mount for 55 million or even 60, I think that's a great deal. I think he's worth, if you had 5 years left on his contract, I think you're looking at 120 million at the minimum. With 5 years left on his deal, you're looking at over 100%.
I hear what you're saying. For the amount of time left on the contract,
yeah.
He's only got a year left. So the fact that they're asking for this amount of money, it all sort of comes around from, he's a product of the youth academy. He's also English, so therefore you have to lob a bit of English tax on a player. But if he was to sign, what Chelsea are doing at the moment with their 7-year deals at the moment, and they're having to move players on. If it was a year into that, and you desperately wanted him, I think he would be looking at that sort of like that sort of figure.
Yeah, and I even think now,
mil.
with 1 year left, I still think he's worth like less than 80. I would be unhappy about that. I think Chelsea, the initial asking price at 80, I think was right.
Season on season. If you're a 120 mil player, like we have to, like Declan Rice, consistent performances season on season. So not these dips, not these ghosting in big games. And I think that's what's hurt him and what's held him back. And that's why people are looking at him how they're looking at him now.
Yeah, but
have we switched subject? I'm sorry. Can someone enlighten me? Have we switched subject to a different player than Mason Mount? Or we're still talking about Mason Mount? Maybe I zoned out or something.
Come on,
maybe my headphones got muted or something.
No, if I say to you,
come on, dude.
2 times Chelsea Player of the Year. Last season, he put up, the season before last season, 21-22, he put up 11 goals in the league and 10 assists. That's 22 G8. What did Saka get this season?
Can I ask you something, my friend? Is he better than
we're not relating the two.
Yeah, let's compare Saka to Mount.
Let's compare Mount to someone who's in the same place. The most consistent player at Man United, and I said that yesterday and the day before. Is he better than Bruno Fernandes?
Yeah, he is. He's better than Bruno.
That's your genuine opinion, not because you're a Chelsea fan.
He's better than Bruno Fernandes. I think Man United are upgrading on Bruno with Mount.
By adding
I think they're going to play both. both.
Oh my God!
So in terms of I like kind of to finish the sentence here. What is it about Mason Mount that you think is better than Bruno Fernandes?
I think in terms of ball retention, I think he's better. I think he's better technically than Bruno. 100%, he's better technically than Bruno. I think in terms of I think if he plays number 8, I don't know where you think Bruno's best position is, but if you were to play both number 8 like next to each other, I think Mount would outperform Bruno every game. I think in a number 8 position, being the link up in midfield, that is where Mount is elite. He is elite in that position. But in the last 3 seasons, he's been playing out of position. He's been playing right wing. Under Tuchel, 2 seasons in a row, he played right wing, and he was our best player. So I don't know. I really
can I go into this conversation and tell you, has Mason Mount made a position his as Chelsea when he's fit, or he was floating around?
That's the same thing with Kai Havertz.
Has he made a position his?
Same argument with Kai Havertz.
And by the way, I don't disagree with you that Mason Mount might be a good player, and he had 2 very good seasons. But only one of them where he had double-digit goals and assists, which is the season that you didn't win the Champions League. That was the season after the Champions League. He was great that season. And at that point, I thought that this guy takes really good positions between the lines, between the opposition's midfield, if you want to talk technically, between the opposition's midfield and the defense. And he always arrived in time in the area, and he scored 10 goals in that season, if I'm not mistaken. But he had 1 good season. So the other season, he was okay. By the way, that season under Lampard, you were scoring tons of goals and you were conceding plenty. And that's when Thomas Tuchel arrived and shut out the defense by playing back 3. I'm getting too technical here. Let me get something straight. Mason Mount is good, but he isn't an elite footballer. If he was elite footballer, other teams would look at him and say, I'm going to get this guy. There's a reason why Kai Havertz was only at Arsenal. Real Madrid, when they saw the price, they walked away. Mason Mount is only at Man United. And even Ten Hag, And I'm sure that Man United are moving, looking at Ten Hag and taking his opinion. I'm sure that when they said 50 plus 5, this is why we value him. And you only came with 10 million more, which shouldn't be a big deal in deals like this. They literally said, this is it for us. That means they value him at this point, at that value. I think your argument about him moving to the right and the center being better than Bruno, I don't think it has legs. And with all due respect, I'm sorry, but I don't think anybody else would see that.
I think it's difficult to try and judge him based on last season. You know, he only played like 20 odd games in the league last season. He only completed 90 minutes 6 times. You know, and he also played under a couple of different managers as well. I wouldn't want to be judging Mount on last season.
But then what does that make him a 120 mil player though? Like for everything that you've said, then what you're saying is, yeah, okay, don't write him off. But to say he's a 120 mil player, like no clubs are really clamoring for Mount. Like, yeah, Man United are interested. They've been trying
Arsenal
to do it.
Arsenal want him out before Havertz.
Yeah, we want him out, and like I was a bit. Well, I'm one of those sort of players. I'm one of those sort of people with Arsenal where I'm like, we need to get better players, but I love my players too much. So we're getting someone who's much better than what we've already got. I'm like, oh, how are we going to drop that person? Or why are we going to drop that person? You know what I mean? But Mason Mount would walk straight into Arsenal right now. I do genuinely believe it.
Where is he?
As it stands.
Nah.
No,
you mad? Are you mad?
As it stands, well, yeah. As it stands right this second, Mason. Granit Xhaka looks like he's moving
Left
on.
number 8.
So you play him there. Bam. You
So
know,
if you had, can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing? If you had Granit Xhaka stay at Arsenal, would you be saying the same thing?
No, Mount.
Oh, man, I love Granit Xhaka. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
but let's say if you don't love Granit Xhaka, if you just look at it the way it is, because Mason Mount's been up and down and all around. And Kai Havertz is one of those players too. It's the reason why Chelsea Football Club are selling both these players. If they were world-class players, if they were quality, they'd be keeping them right now. But they're trying to get rid of dead wood.
The Mount situation is like where this 120 sort of like number was banded around, why everyone's sort of like crying about it. Like we're basically, I'm sort of with you on Connor on this one, because what I'm saying is, and what I think you're getting at as well, is if he had 5-6 years, he had 5 years left of his contract, so you're making a signing right now. If you're talking, he's only got a year left of his deal, and we're looking at £50 million. If he's got 5 years left, we are going to be looking at 100 mil plus.
No,
if you want to get the player.
Can I just add as well? Can I just add?
Who's going to pay it?
Going on this stream.
Sorry, can I just add? Jude Bellingham now. Look at Jude Bellingham now. Compare Mount, I'd say 3 seasons ago. In that 2021 season, Mount was better than Jude Bellingham like now.
Can't have that one though. I'm sorry. I'll back you.
Mount was definitely better than Jude Bellingham now than he was then. And Jude Bellingham went for what? 130?
So you think that Mason Mount,
Premier League as well?
Mason Mount gets to United, and Ten Hag gets him back to full confidence into his best form. You think Man United could be picking up for £55 million a better football player and a better midfielder than Jude Bellingham?
Not right now.
No, but the point
in Ten Hag's system, yeah.
If Man United get Mount back to his best, he's better for us than Jude Bellingham will be for Real Madrid.
Yeah, if you play him at left number 8, well, I think Ten Hag will play. I think Ten Hag will play Bruno and Mount with Casemiro in behind. So I think if you play him at left number 8, I think Mount, he outperforms most of the midfielders in the league.
That is a big take. Viewers, we want your thoughts. We want your feelings. We want your opinions on that in the comment section below right now. We're gonna, mate, do you know what? I'm loving it. Do you know what? I will say this, right? I don't agree with that. I think Jude's better. But do you know what I like about you already, Connor? Is that you say what you think. You're not sitting there going, right, I better say Mount's rubbish, and I better say he's better than nobody because the viewers will all like it. You're speaking your own opinion, and at least, unlike 95% of other people, you're showing your face on camera and you're speaking your mind. I like that. This here says, is that Johnny Minerals in disguise? Mason Mount is average.